In about a decade, we personally spent upwards of $2 million of our own dollars booking artists to perform at festivals and concerts that we produced in our community here in California. Who did we book and why? Everything you need to know about live performance bookings, as well as the facts and fiction on what promoters are really looking for. That's coming up here on the Stream Girls.
Check the Stream Girls. They got a lot to say. The Stream Girls. From Los Angeles to the Monterey Bay. Started streaming before the boys knew what was up. California dreaming, here to light the world up. If you know, you know. If you don't, you in your own way. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you don't, you in your own way.
Okay. Listen up, everybody.
Get out your own way.
Get out your own way. I'm Sandy Shore, and this is my cohort, Donna K. Phillips.
Donna K.
And you are about to get an all-access pass. This is a crash course on live event booking. Do not press pause. Stick around for the next 45 minutes or so, and we're going to tell you all about it. It's about to get real.
We got some info.
It's about to get real.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start it off.
Yeah. So between about mid-90s and mid-2000s, early 2000s, so 95 to 2005 or so, Donna, you and I produced a beautiful concert series in the Monterey Bay area called Concerts by the Bay. We did festival events as well that spun off of that. The Indian Summer Music Festival was one, and some incredible shows on land and sea around our community, and they featured some of the biggest artists, in the world of all time, including some contemporary jazz icons. All of a sudden I'm thinking of the names like Michael Franks, right? Michael McDonald, Tony Bennett, Diana Krall, Kenny Loggins, Jeffrey Osborne, Boz Scaggs, Tower of Power.
Don't forget Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal.
Right?
Yes. And then heavyweight contemporary jazz artists like Foreplay, as many times as we could book them.
Oh, yeah.
We booked them every time.
Keiko,
Boney. The Rippingtons, Dave Koz, Boney James. And
Brian, when he was a wee lad.
A wee lad. And
Mindy, when she had her horn rimmed glasses playing for Jonathan Butler.
Did I mention George Benson? Twice.
Yes.
The list is long and illustrious for sure. And if you take a look behind me and you can see these posters, that are, I kind of can lift the screen up, those playing the home game and watching the podcast.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
The visual's worth it. We have cool stuff.
Donna designed these posters. You can see.
There's Boney.
Yep. These are from 2 of the years. We did so
Huge.
many.
I see Huge back there.
You see him popping out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Norman.
Yeah. Slim Man.
And if you look at these artists that go back a good 25 years, about this, 25 years now, here we are in the future. And it's really quite funny to me that those are the same artists for the most part that are playing and headlining the festivals today.
Maybe I could rent those posters out.
Yeah, you could.
Hey, you don't need to design anything. It's the same acts.
And look how beautiful. I mean, she didn't get an art degree for nothing. Look at.
We're not saying anything about longevity. Longevity's great.
It's great.
It's some amazing events have grown out of the artist doing their own promotions and their own cruises and things like that. So it's been a great run. However, there are some new people trying to get in.
Share the stage, folks.
Yeah.
We take a lot of phone calls here at smoothjazz.com. That's one of the things that I spend my time on each and every week. And I would say it's definitely in the top 5 most mentioned things.
Yeah.
I want to play at the festivals. I want to play on the cruises. I just want to play. And I have a great show.
Is that the other thing you hear?
They always say that they have a great show, and I never doubt that. But what I can tell you is that, in other genres of music, there's a personnel changeover from time to time.
Yeah.
We still have the pop icons. We still have Madonna and Janet Jackson, but we also have, in the last decade, we have Bruno Mars, we have Post Malone, we have Harry Styles, and thank God for that.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. I mean, imagine.
We have Benson Boone. We have the girl that sings the Pink Pony Club.
Yeah, yeah. But also keep an eye on SNL, right? Are they booking everyone they booked in the mid-90s? No, they are not.
Other than Paul McCartney, no.
That was for the 50th.
But they were booking Paul McCartney in the 70s, so no. I mean,
Paul
to your point,
time.
to your point, no. This is what we're trying to say. It's time to make a little room. It's trying to let people kind of shoulder in, and we do pick up on your frustration. We hear it.
Yeah.
We understand. Really, the fastest way to get on to a stage in contemporary jazz is the slowest way. Like anything worth waiting for, it's literally about methodically and strategically planning. And I'm going to say this too, because I'm quite passionate about this, Donna, that anything you want in life, you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
And you're all in. You've got to be all in. And the live piece, it is one of the hardest pieces to add to your career puzzle, for sure. But if you ever get a chance to talk to Dave Koz or Boney James and anybody in contemporary jazz, if that is where you're heading, they're going to tell you the same thing, that you keep your foot on the gas and you don't take it off. And I remember one time I had an opportunity. I've known Rick Braun I've known all these guys for the longest time, from the beginning, from back when the world was young. And I remember Rick came by the station that I was one of the stations I was working for. And that was the year he was on the cover of pretty much every music magazine, including the Gavin Report at the time. And he had made a big, bold move in our genre, having the courage to bring a trumpet to a saxophone show.
And we're a wife beater.
Well, that was just sexy.
Yeah.
But then you throw the trumpet in, and people were like, "What?" We were all like, "Our ears weren't prepared for the trumpet." I'm telling you, that's the truth. In smooth jazz, now, if you're a young artist and you're listening, you probably think that's crazy, but it literally had been a sea of saxophonists. So Rick did that. He did it, and I remember he came by. He was everywhere, and he stopped in. I said, "Rick, how are you doing this?" And you know what he said to me? I'm sure he'd still say it today, too. He said, "You know what, Sandy? I just keep showing up." And honestly, there's a lot of wisdom in that simplicity.
Yeah, and he does. But, I think that's worth mentioning, given a little past context first to start this off, because I think we're in a unique position. You being on the radio, working with the artist, having promoters call you, trying to get you to play their music. You made relationships with the artist, which is what gave you the idea that maybe you, as a radio presenter, could parlay those relationships into your own concert series in this beautiful area that we live in. And when I met you, I had been gigging with my band, and I did not think about promoters at all and what they were experiencing on their side. And when you brought me into the Concerts by the Bay series that I joined you on in 96, you had 6 shows that year, and I did the logo for you. And I really got to see how much work goes into bringing an act to a live audience, getting that audience there, getting the sponsorships, the radio station to back you, so that was your advertising engine.
Yes, for sure.
And I wanted to jump in and help because it was hard. It's so tough out there. We know how tough it is out there to get gigs. And oftentimes my band was booked because we had a sound system that we brought with us. So yeah, talk about not being treated respectfully, kindly. No, it's not even a part of it. Most times we weren't even paid because we didn't count our own people at the door. It was really scrappy out there. So when I came and worked with you, I wanted to make that experience really different for the artists, especially in smooth jazz. I felt like it was a classy format, and we wanted to do something really, really different. However, what I learned through all my naivete was that it takes money to hire sound and hire a staff and do it right.
Yeah, and we didn't have any.
No, we had nothing to start with.
We had everything else but money.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And we had the vision, we had the
Yeah.
talent, we had amazing housekeeping.
Yeah.
You in particular were incredible with the organizational part of it and the design.
Printing
you
our
know.
own tickets, numbering our own tickets.
You were amazing to do that.
Backstage
And then,
passes, everything.
yeah, and when I wanted to book artists, I did have some insider information for sure. I mean, Donna said I was a presenter. I thought of myself as a DJ, but I'll go with the British version of it. I was on the air and I was programming the stations and I knew these artists. And of course, my intel included, how are they selling in San Diego? How are they selling in Boston? How are they
Catalina.
selling in Catalina Island in Chicago? So we did have a network of that. And there was a magazine out at the time. I think it's still out. It doesn't really help a lot with contemporary jazz. It's Polestar.
Yeah.
And this just literally shows ticket sales in general. So you can see what a band can do. But that doesn't mean they're going to play well in your community. And this is something, we're telling you this. You might be listening saying, yeah, but what about me and how do I get booked?
Yeah.
Well, this is information that you need so that you can understand and be sensitive, compassionate, and professional when you approach the promoters. Number one, nobody is obligated to give anybody anything ever. No. And as my dear friend Nathan East says, we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we stay humble and we stay earnest and we do what we need to do to get where we're trying to go. And we have a lot of tools today that we didn't have back, in our time when we were promoting concerts. Look behind us. You can kind of see the postcards behind me in that frame. I have 3 or 4 of those. Every single event we did, we printed, and Donna is a degreed artist. She's an amazing, music graphic designer. We printed these gorgeous postcards and we put postage on them and we collected a database of people who came to all the shows, just like you're doing. We presume you're keeping a database because guess what? That's cool again. That is actually, people are going back to the traditional approach, at least getting email addresses. We had physical addresses. So we mailed postcards and we would go to our jazz happy hours that we produced in town. And it was so much fun. We would recruit people who wanted to get a beer, get a glass of wine, and they'd sit down with us and it became like a little bit of a knitting circle. Someone put the stamps on, someone put the labels on, right? Yeah. And we would sit there and hang out and have a great time listening to jazz, and we would put local jazz, and then we would get these out in the mail, thousands of them, and the ticket sales would start up. Now that came over time because that was us trying to become, a reputable, known producer of quality shows. And mind you, the budget that we don't come from deep pockets. We didn't have an investor. Everything that you see that we're doing today came by leverage and then producing results. We didn't have a wide margin for failure.
Ingenuity. I mean, the first website, I told you I'm a graphic designer. I'm not a coder, and I'm not going to learn HTML. And so I ended up learning HTML because we had a website and we said, how can we use this thing? And back in that day, there were no online stores. There was no encryption. In fact, one of the happy hours, we met the guy who helped invent encryption, who happened
Wasn't
to live
that
in Cornell.
amazing?
Yeah. And we said, wouldn't this be great? Wait. There's going to be encryption. We could not have to just have people fill out a form on our website and mail it in to get tickets. He said one day they're going to purchase with a credit card on your website.
And we couldn't believe it. What are you talking about?
What are you
No, we knew that was coming. We knew that was coming. But,
but that was how early we were.
But we were very early to the whole internet thing. And a lot of people may not know this story, and it's one of my favorite ones. When the URL came along, the domain name smoothjazz.com, that is a URL. When that became available to me through a local friend who happened to work in the internet business that was newly forming in town. He said, I can get that for you. And you have to, the fee on it is $100. Today, that's lunch somewhere. Then on a DJ's salary, that meant I had to choose between buying that or paying my utilities bill at the time.
Yep.
And you know what I chose? Yeah. And I'm glad I did. But that just kind of shows you that, when you have ideas, I always tell artists this, and it's not to be cruel. It's not to be overly dreamer about things. Try to make decisions that don't involve money. Try not to let money make your decisions for you. Decide what you want to do, who you want to be. And after that, how you get there is it starts to line up, because if you live an intentional life and you see yourself being somewhere, believe me, eventually you get there. And the things we want to talk to you about today, because we know that it's a squeeze to get on the stage, in jazz. One good thing about it is that there are more jazz festivals than any other kind of music festival in the world, not just the United States. Jazz draws people together. It brings people together. And as you've seen in New Orleans, it's not just jazz artists that play at jazz festivals. We are inclusive. That's why you see the very handsome face of Michael McDonald behind me on the 2002 poster. And James Ingram, who's actually, I was telling Donna before we started to record that I noticed his name. James signed his name on that poster behind us. And we're getting everything out now to hang on the walls, because these are our brand new studios here at smoothjazz.com. We spent a long time getting everything in order, and now all the artwork gets to come out. And we're pulling out everything signed. I mean, I must have had an investment in Sharpies back then.
Even Melissa Etheridge, you can't see it because the Brian Culbertson's in the way.
Well, even the Indigo Girls back there, they signed that.
Yeah, they came to K-Pig and you got to interview them, and that was great.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
But so we understand, especially for artists that are, starting to do well. Their song is done, has made it to watercolors, and they are working with influential producers, and
right.
And they're energetic, and they're writing new songs, and they're ready to go. And we understand that you want to get on these festivals and these events. SmoothJazz.com partners with over 100 festivals and events every year. And we know these promoters, and we know for a fact that they use our platform to suss out and discover new talent. So that's just one reason to market with us, above and beyond everything else you do. If you're on our platform more than just for a song play, and they see your banners and they read your reviews and they see you on our social media, that definitely helps. That looks like artists who invest in themselves and invest in people who invest in them, they go the furthest. And you can ask anyone now who's been on that stage for the last 25, 30 years and has no plans of getting off of that stage. They're gonna be the first to tell you that they do support their promoter. Now, back when I was booking these folks, I had to talk to a booking agent. I didn't talk to them directly, even though I might have lunch with them. I'd have to talk to the agent to get the deal done. And then we were the promoters. We promoted the show. We were called promoters, and we promoted. We used whatever means we could to promote, like those postcards, like radio, like newspaper ads, anything we could do. Today, the artist, an independent artist, in addition to being your own label owner, as we've talked about here on the Stream Girls, you're also a promoter. I'm not sure if you realize that or not, but you are also a promoter now. And what that means is the onus is on you for the first time, and people are saying it now. It's been this way for probably the last 5 to 10 years. When you see artists that you admire, like Boney James and Kim Scott, and all of them. I've even seen Norman Brown lately, talking about gigs that he's got coming up. That is promotion.
Yeah.
You're in a partnership. This isn't all transactional. You're in a partnership with these festivals. If you want to be invited back, then you'll support them by doing these reels. I'm not talking to the new artists anymore, really, am I, Donna? I'm talking to artists who are performing, and you're seeing a change. It's a sea change that when we see the artists that are on these posters right now, now I'm seeing them do really cool reels and shorts, telling people, hey, come and join me here at X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be playing in Mexico. Come join me.
Right. It's all about connection. It's all about telling a story. That's how you connect and create a fan base, right? You don't just state facts like, oh, I'm number one on this thing and I got airplay on that thing. Those are statements of facts. Those end conversations, right? It's great. People basically think, that's nice for you. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that pertains to me. But it's great if you want to promote those things. Like when kids get participation trophies, right? I mean, everyone can have a trophy or an award. What's more important is why people want to come see you, why they believe in your music, why they would drive or fly to come see your show, or why they might even consider going to Europe because you're part of that lineup over there and they just really, really like you. Yes, you can play the hell out of your instrument. That does matter. But it no longer is the deciding factor. We don't live in that time. And Sandy, I just want to go back just a second to say the reason the context is so important is that the promoter, the way the traditional relationship has been, is that the promoter gets paid last. Everybody, including the artist, gets paid before the promoter. Oftentimes, the last 100 seats in a venue is the difference between whether that promoter's 6 months or a year's worth of effort will turn a profit. So they can pay their bills too. They have to wait for that money. And sometimes when those last 100 tickets don't sell, I remember walking into our own events with huge names. It just was maybe what was going on in the world at that time. It was the night that we put on the show. It was the weather that was, it could be anything. It wasn't the artist's fault. We had radio stations to help promote back then. We didn't have social media. So it was what it was. And sometimes it would be a $15,000 party we would throw. That's what I'd call them, parties. Sometimes it was a $50,000 party, right? And even though that artist, we would gauge a guess on that. It's an educated guess. That artist is doing well here, there, and there. Therefore, things are a little slow right now after, let's say, 9/11. We're going to go double down, put the biggest names on the bill, right, Sandy? We took a chance.
Exactly.
We put the biggest names up there, and we ended up $300,000 in debt.
That's because it was 9/11.
Yeah.
That's what happened in 9.
But after 2 years of trying to get out of 9/11.
When we would do shows, I mean, shows are, business is cash flow,
It is.
unless you're working for a major tech company and they have, millions and billions of dollars, in some cases trillions. But in this business, it's all about cash flow. And so we might have a concert that didn't, we didn't sell that last 50 tickets. And that was our take, and that's something for you as an artist to keep in mind that
yes.
If, not everybody, it may look like they're doing extremely well. Oh, I see what you sold the tickets for, and I know how many you have, but you don't know how much the sound man cost or how much that drum kit cost. Or
the venue.
The back line, the insurance. Someone's got to pay for it. The way we produced events, we don't own a venue. So we would go into these very high-end resorts, and that meant we had to create something out of nothing. That meant staging.
Lighting.
And speakers. Sometimes we had to fly the speakers. Sometimes we had festivals so big that we would build 2 stages. That was our Indian Summer Music Festival in Santa Cruz that we did. That was my dream because I have expensive taste.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's put these 2 stages together, side by side. So there's no downtime. Wouldn't that be amazing so that people don't have to walk around the festival grounds, and not know what to do, but we'll literally have stage A, stage B, and we'll just fire it off. It won't stop all day. And, needless to say, that was a price tag that was
ambitious. It was ambitious. And I
but
remember
it was really cool.
It was. And I remember when Kenny Loggins rolled in and we thought we'd paid for everything. A huge venue, the conference center, right? 2,000 people. And we had outlaid so much expense. And they came in with their grocery list. And we basically asked them, we said, are you having us go grocery shopping for your tour bus? Yes, we are.
They asked for an entire hospitality writer's worth of things for the night. But then we noticed things like cereal and orange juice and other breakfasty items. And we said, you guys are you're only playing for yeah, but we have to stock up the tour bus. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. We didn't realize that you needed a gift card at Safeway for that.
Yeah, that's our profit.
but-
But hey, you just take the profit.
But anyway, that's something for you to note as well, that oftentimes it's the last rows of the venue that is the promoter's take. And so knowing that lends some sensitivity to it for you. They have to sell out. They can't just throw parties like Donna's saying. For us, we hit the perfect storm. We were doing amazing in 99, 2000, and even in 2001 when we had Tony Bennett and Diana Krall on their jazz tour. And I think it was like Tony Bennett's grand finale, or he said that. I think he came back, but everyone came. It was a tremendous success. We were riding high, and then 9/11.
2000. It's that postcard right behind you there.
Yeah.
And it was 2000, and the reason I'm going to say that is because
That's right.
That concert was so successful in our community. Everyone showed up dressed to the nines. It was so successful. It was a huge price to get them to come through and play up at the Meadows at Quail Meadows. However, Diana Krall's manager called right after that event, called you, and that's rare, and said that Diana wants to play your Concerts by the Bay series next summer. And that was prior to 9/11, thank God. But we were on such a high.
That's right.
She not only wanted to play a 700-seat venue, she did it for half of her rate and did 2 shows for us just to make the numbers work, because you were very honest, it wouldn't work had we not manipulated the numbers. And then Barbra Streisand came to the concert with her party, and Clint Eastwood came, and it was a huge star-studded event. And then 9/11 hit. So
And
just when
ladies-
we thought we finally made it,
And ladies, when Donna says her party, she means James Brolin.
James Brolin.
He was here. That was kind of exciting. But and artists would tell us all the time, because our goal, the whole reason we set out upon this journey was not only do we love music and wanted to support, live music, but we knew that we could do something very special for artists and audience. It wasn't just to make the artists feel good or just the audiences to feel good. We knew there was a symbiotic relationship there.
Yes.
And the way we treated everyone who showed up with respect and dignity and being courteous and making sure that the experience wasn't too big so that they didn't get lost in the crowd, that their seats were easy to get to, they didn't have to wait in line too long, that the artists had someplace comfortable to sit and good food to eat and drink while they waited. This is why we would get calls from Diana Krall's manager asking if she could come back and play at another one of our events. That was really quite an honor and very flattering, and that's what we set out to do. And so 9/11 came, and nobody went out to anywhere ever, for a long time. I mean, yeah, if you lived through it, you know that airlines ran empty, that hotels ran empty, that even here on the sacred grounds, golf lovers' sacred grounds of Pebble Beach, there was no waiting list to get on the course. No one did anything, and here we had this huge event coming up. And our headliner, the day that we actually retaliated against 9/11 in our country and started a war, we had booked
The most ironic booking.
Beyond irony, we had booked the band war to headline. And no one wanted to come to that. And,
people who bought tickets did not come to that.
No, so we sat there, and that explains the extraordinary debt that we underwent, and that ended up going into some very creative financing for a lot of years to dig ourselves out of that, including we were lucky enough to be able to own property, a house that we could refinance to cover that. But that's what concert promotion is about. And that's why hats off to the promoters out there, Rainbow Promotions, for being able to do what they have done for all these years. Art Good, for having the Catalina Island experience this is his 39th year. God bless him. You know what I mean?
Kathy Powers. Yeah,
Kathy
go ahead.
Powers.
Kathy Powers was shooting video at the Seabreeze when I met her, and she got an idea, like you did back in the day, that, hey, maybe I could bring some of these great events to another part of Florida, not just the Panhandle, and she's been vastly successful.
It's important to know who they are, who's booking these.
Christian and Sunny.
Christian and Sunny, Rich Sherman at Omega. Our friends at John Coltrane. Joe, who runs
Jazz
that.
Legacy.
Jazz Legacy. I mean, and the lineup that they create for Jazz Legacy is absolutely iconic. So it's important to understand, you're in business with people. This is a partnership. So you're looking for them to invest in you. And in order to invest in them before you know them, there are ways to do that. There are tools. One, take your job very seriously with social media. Create content that makes you as an artist look like you belong on those stages. Make sure that you envision that. Be creative, be clever. Let's hear how you play. Let's hear how you look when you play. Let's be intelligent about how we share ideas about the music we're creating. That's number one. But turn your social channels into a place where your fans want to go, your followers want to go. Be friends with them and grow it. That's a big, big focus point for you right now.
One of the biggest things missing, though, and I can't believe I wasn't thinking of this. There is a serious lack of good photography and artist photos. I mean, this is what helps with social media, is having some really unique photos. We have awesome phones with awesome apps on them. It doesn't take much to go out and have your friends help you or your partners help you shoot. You don't have to always do a big professional photo shoot. It doesn't hurt. But this is like having a quiver of arrows to shoot with, right? You got to stock up with great images. And now with AI's help, you can do some nice videos with those photos and instruct it how to do some videos. You can also make sure you have a way to take video footage of you at your gigs, so you can start compiling different shows that you do.
And they don't need to be long videos. Again,
No.
I have conversations with artists every single week here. They book their appointments with me. If anybody's listening and would like to have a consult, you can use my Calendly schedule. It's calendly.com/Sandy Shore. I have it all over my social media if you want to book. But I talk to artists all the time, and their thing is, they don't understand any of this. They just have a good show, they say, and they really want to play. And a lot of them, not only do they not have photos, Donna, but they don't even have their paperwork together. And by that, I mean their contracts.
Oh yeah, you're not serious if you don't have your docs.
You need to have that together. So you need to stop saying what you want to do and go do stuff to prep for it. You need to have a proper artist
Writer,
contract and writer, your technical writer, your hospitality writer. You need to have a stage plot. And if you don't, if you're just starting out, you need to get your charts together too, because oftentimes you're not going to bring a band.
yeah.
So you need to be, willing to play with other musicians or do a track date, whatever you're willing to do, But those are the areas that you need to really start focusing on. Dial it in. If you want something bad enough, you have to live it. You have to, that old saying, fake it till you make it. There's totally some truth in that. Live the life that you want. And that's where you can take your social media to a higher level. Be careful not to hire people who represent you as a third-party person. It's your social media. It's your account. I don't always have time to write things every single week. Sometimes I go on a jag and you'll see 8 posts from me because I'm feeling very social and very, I've got a lot going on I want to share with you. Then I'll take an entire week off, and that's okay too. But let's keep it real. You need to talk about you.
I think I have something to offer in terms of understand. Like, we're giving you context, right? But you need to understand, a venue runs on people who do different jobs. That's how shows come about. We all know that, but do we really know that? We just did a couple of shows at a local venue just recently, this summer actually, with Acoustic Alchemy and BPM. And every time I walked into that venue, and we had done this for so long that I could take it for granted, but I never do. The sound man treats you differently when you send an input list. When you send a technical writer that makes sense, that's been well thought through, that you know your setup. And a stage plot.
They need to know where you're going to stand.
Yeah, that's the difference between being treated with respect, because you're treating them with respect, or them being a little snotty to you when you show up because maybe you think you're filling your boots a bit much, And this is the thing that we experienced when we were putting on shows. We always had an opening act slot in front of our bigger shows. Even when they sold out, we would still give a space to a local musician. In fact, one of them was
Not always local. Not always
no,
local.
not always local, but one was the head of the Monterey Jazz Festival. He was a flute player back in the day, and he was
Tim Jackson.
Tim Jackson was one of
Yeah.
our opening acts.
Now he's the exception to the rule. When we created this saying about it, we called it the opening act syndrome.
Yeah.
And that's because the opening act people would show up and they would demand more tickets for their friends, more food, more access, more everything. I can remember, it's almost like it was yesterday when a opening act showed up, and they were local, and they wanted to know if they could have the front row, the seats that have been sold out for the entire season. Yeah, no, you can't have the front row.
I think we actually had to ask some of them to move because they took the front row.
So remember that your behavior, sometimes we got to check our ego at the door. I think sometimes insecurity shows up for those starting out, and sometimes it presents as ego, and it might just be a self-consciousness. But remember, everybody's working here, and
Yeah.
what you may not be aware of, because again, we have the experience, we have the skin in the game, you may not be aware that some of the biggest names in music today are literally some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. At least our experience has been. When Bob James shows up, and you don't have his room ready, and it's not time to sound check, nothing's ready for him. I'm good. I've got my book. I've got my iPad. I'm just going to go grab something to drink and sit down. That's Bob James.
Yeah.
Michael McDonald shows up. Same exact humble, how can I help? Just tell us where to go. We're good. That's the higher up you go, the more kindness and cooperation you find.
Keiko Matsui had to come let us know that the hotel didn't have her room ready, even though her bus had arrived. And she waited in the ticket line until it was her turn to let us know that they needed their rooms freed up. And we took care of it.
Humble, yes.
Incredibly humble.
So when you're starting out and you're, getting some gigs, humility is everything. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you that, but just from the past experience that we've had, keep that in mind, because, there's, as my mom used to say, you get more bees with honey. And I know you want to be invited back because it's taken a long time to get even invited in the first place. So making the experience pleasant and having a great show, connecting with the audience, and then doing your part to help with the social media, all of those things are going to play into you taking a step forward. Another area, of course, is streaming. We would be remiss if we didn't mention that. No one is booking a concert event today. No one, I'm serious, is booking based on your Billboard position. No one.
And anyone telling you that, keep in mind that person has never risked their own bankroll to put on a concert themselves or to even produce a record themselves. These are not people who risk their own money. These are people who do one job. It's a middleman job they've done for 40 years. And these are not the people to be telling you why people book, because they themselves are not promoters and never have been.
I'll tell you where they are going, because they're not going to pay Billboard. I already told you how tight it is to put on a concert event. The bigger the name you see, the more expense they have on backline and security and venue and hotel.
The more sponsors you need.
They are not going to pay Billboard to get behind the scenes, to get behind the paywall, to look at the smooth jazz chart. Come on. So where they are going, though, and it's free, they're going to Spotify and they're going to YouTube. That's where they're going. And they're looking, because those numbers are transparent. I can see how many followers you have. I can see how, and it's great to have songs with a lot of numbers, a lot of zeros behind them. That's awesome. And it's helpful. But the monthly listeners, those are the active people that seek you out every single day, every single month.
Yeah.
That, in a promoter's mind, translates to tickets. YouTube is the same way. It's the same way.
Also, Sandy, it's the artists that have perfected the art of doing quick reels. If they're traveling to a gig, if they're backstage at a gig, if they're talking to another artist, they'll take those opportunities. They have that thought, hey, I should post this real quick. And they're taking you along with them to the gig. those are the promoters see that. If you could have seen that information, wouldn't that have helped you decide who to book for your shows?
Yeah, and we were in a unique position. We weren't just fans. We were inside the industry. And you and I were always really clever. I've been on Facebook since the year Facebook came out. And I can remember, with the Jazz Weekender, we had the rare luxury. We had been booking concerts for a decade, prior to it. And we, when we did the Jazz Weekender in Carmel, that was hosted by Nathan East, all the social media was at our discretion, and it hadn't been there the first time we promoted. And I can remember following Nathan along in a car and doing a reel on him while he was riding a scooter from the resort to the venue, which was about a mile, and it blew up, and that's the kind of real life stuff that really connects with people. And I'm not saying you need to go hire Nathan East and get him on a scooter. I'm just saying that if you have anything clever, any fun ideas, the audience still, people still buy tickets because they saw their favorite artist on stage the week before taking a selfie with the crowd or showing the set list at their feet. The intimacy really, really pays off for you. It'll grow your fan base and it will sell tickets. And the onus is on you to be a promoter to help the people who book you sell the tickets. Because remember, you're in this together. Invest in people who invest in you.
What was Nathan wearing on the scooter?
Can I remember? Oh, he was wearing our swag.
He was wearing our backpack.
Yes.
He was wearing our baseball cap. And he was wearing his Jazz Weekender t-shirt, which, by the way, he and Noah still do every time they come
to Monterey to see us.
Every time they come to see us, they respectfully, and I notice it every time, wear our swag. And I don't know too many artists that do that.
I'm a big fan of modeling. That's how that's how I grew. Everything's college to me. Everything's higher education to me. And when I was younger and just was so madly in love with being on the radio, one of my favorite DJs, air personalities of all time was Carrie Tombazian, who was on K-Earth 101. And I studied Carrie, and she, and I ended up working with her on the Wave many years later, not that many years, but I think I was a teenager when I was studying her. In my early 20s, I was able to actually be on an air team with the great Carrie. But that's what I do. I model, I listen, and I reverse engineer. What made Carrie so special to me? Why did I feel like she was my friend? What was she doing that made it so intimate, the experience, while she was on the radio, in Los Angeles? And I encourage every artist who's listening to check out artists like Nathan East. He is authentic. He is real. He's having fun.
Yeah.
He doesn't do things that aren't fun. He doesn't need to, and when he's on a scooter with our backpack, wearing our hat and our sweatshirt, he knows he of course he made that decision to be a team player and to be all in. I mean, the gear was really hot too, so that didn't hurt. But look at Nathan's social media. Look at it.
He also gets endorsed by, I think he's endorsed by a bicycle company because he takes his fold-up bike with him when he travels on tour. And because he's so fun, because he posts a lot while he's having fun at NAMM and all over the world. He posts, I love his posts when they just go on stage with Clapton and they're walking out and he takes you with him. And you get to see that audience and just they're like a sea of people still, and you get to feel what they feel, right?
Yes, yeah. For a moment, you know what it's like to be a rock star on the stage. Yeah, it's cool.
That is so powerful.
So those are the things you get to come up with because you as a talent, you as a person, you have uniquenesses too. You have something that other people don't have. Whatever that is, do that and share that and be authentic with that and be real. Build your numbers. These things take time. We understand your frustration. You can't believe me. If we could change this industry and get everybody to participate and book at least a half a dozen new artists every year, we would have tried everything we could to make that happen. We mention it. I mean, what we do here on smoothjazz.com on our platform that supports contemporary jazz is we introduce a lot of new artists every single year, and those artists are available for these talent buyers to see. They not only call us and ask us, well, hey, who's a star right now? Who's a starburst right now? Who's blowing up right now? Who do we need to know about right now? Of course, we share that information with them. And our platform also makes it very easy and clean to spot when they go look at our listening loft and our charts, and they look at the banners.
That's passive. That's passive. We actually created a program that no one else has created for the artist. And I remember you were on the phone and you had many calls back to back, and you said the commonality between all the calls I've just had today is that everyone wants bookings. And I said, then let's create a booking program, a DIY booking program. And we created the Booking Blast. And so we have this beautiful artist dossier that's set up with your headshot and with a live performance video and all of your numbers, like Sandy's talking about, all of your pertinent information. And then we went a step further. We actually went online back in the day and created contacts for all of the festivals that would pertain to contemporary jazz artists and all of the venues that we knew would pertain. And we created that contact list for the artist or their assistants or managers or whoever to be able to use to introduce themselves and to have everything in one place. Because if Sandy and I had had a booking blast sent to us with a new artist, how much easier would that have been? Every time we see something that's been done the old way, where you group a bunch of artists together and you send out this postcard, you send out an old email with no links in it, we say, why? Why is that like that? Let's create something cleaner and more efficient and more direct so artists can actually interact with the festival promoters in a more professional way. And has it not worked, Sandy?
Oh, it definitely works. Not everybody's ready for it. So,
no, that's right.
And I never see our platform as passive in any capacity at all. So why I recommend that artists consider working with smoothjazz.com as they develop their careers is because if you're not on a platform that is that accessible in this genre.
That's true.
You know what I mean? As you build, because not everybody can do that booking blast right away. I don't recommend it. If you have 10, 50, or even 100 Spotify, listeners, monthly listeners, you're not ready for that program.
No, that's true.
And honestly, I'm not going to tell you you're not ready to play live because I don't know that. What I do know is that it comes down to opportunity, right? And a break. And you need to keep building. And there is never an easy way around something that is going to be so impactful on your life. You're going to get there. The trick is to never, ever let up. Never, ever let up. If you see yourself in it, you're going to get there. You have the tools. Everybody has access to them. They're free. Facebook and Instagram. Do not be afraid of TikTok. Do not be afraid of it. Yeah, at first you might not do a lot, but I'm telling you, every demographic is using it. And if you're in the music industry, it's all about the music. So don't be afraid of TikTok. And there's a bunch of other social media platforms. Get on them, focus on them, and turn, have one day a week where that's what you do. It's part of your business. It's part of running your own label, and it's part of running your own touring company.
I don't even understand why they don't shoot themselves more when they're in practice or when they're doing other live events or, any live video is helpful to a promoter to hear your sound and to, especially if you're doing a live event, please video it so that you've got the audience interaction. We've got how you present yourself on stage, how you work with your band on stage. We're sorely lacking in that content.
Music, you're 100% right.
Take advantage of it while you're doing it. Take advantage of it.
The music industry is a long game.
Yeah,
it's a long game. Of course, there are people that write a song, they put it up on TikTok and YouTube, and then they have a gazillion followers, and they're rich, and they're 19. Yes, that has happened. That has happened, and maybe it could happen to you. I'm never going to try to take the dream away from you. But in the event that you're going to do regular folk do, what these people do the people behind me that keep plugging away. That handsome man with the gray hair that I admire so much, who's 75 now, still playing, still showing up, still writing music, still doing the grind and enjoying every single minute of it. All of those people they've taken the time that they've taken to build their fan base, to write really good songs that people connect with. And now there's social media where you can fast track it a little bit more than they did. You also have to be your own label if you're independent, and you have to be your own touring company. Don't ever take for granted the free tools that are there for you, and just commit to it. And I'm telling you now, things will shake up. There are event producers out there that I speak with that are looking for new blood. They're looking for something fresh.
And
just a matter of time.
And the way you know what Sandy's saying is true is that we've had personal experience with very well-known artists who have an older school belief that all they need to do is show up and play. And we've had discussions, and really fun discussions, with a lot of people in various levels of this genre and just of artistry, that as things continue to evolve, that even the most known artists who don't use those tools that Sandy's talking about, the free tools of social media, don't know how to connect via social media, we know for a fact they don't sell as many tickets.
It's very true. And, this, like what we're doing here, I was all excited to do a podcast because, I like to think after a 40-year radio career that's really closer to 50, that, I've got a voice that I'm proud of. It's still working really well. And I think that's my strong suit. And then now they tell me I have to be on camera. So here I am on camera. And, that's we're not always comfortable with that. You know what I mean? So we understand that going to a photo shoot, doing a reel, being vulnerable, you know, what if people don't like, what if people don't like the flannel shirt I'm wearing? What if they don't, what do I need to do here? We understand that, you're a musician, you're trying to make music, you're trying to connect with people on an artful level. But this is the world we live in, and it's okay to be vulnerable once in a while. It's okay to turn the camera on and say a few things. And you know what? It's endearing. It's real. It's authentic. And this world, with all the content that we have that's constant, this is why it's more important than ever to keep it real, show who you are, and shine. Just shine and keep doing what you're doing with your music. Keep playing, keep writing. If that's what you want to do, you're going to get there. I am 100% on that. And the biggest takeaway for me tonight in my little level up notes that I have is to keep investing in people who invest in you, and to remember those do not include the people that are not, don't overinvest in people that aren't investing in you, or don't invest in things that you need. We know there are people out there with their hands out to take money from artists all the time. Are they putting on the festivals? Do they know what it takes to get on the festivals? Can they call somebody for you and get you on the festival? Are they doing that? If they're not doing that, then you need to rethink that relationship. And you need to focus on what's going to get you where you need to go. Invest in people who invest in you.
Yeah, and let's just stop talking as if that's a thing. The days of radio selling concerts is not a thing anymore. We lived through it. We lost our radio station. It was devastating. And we took action. We created smoothjazz.com.
Because not only do we lose our radio station, I lost my job.
Yeah.
And not just once.
No.
Several times because of what happened to radio. And I know there are DJs out there listening right now going, yeah, that happened to me. Well, that's why smoothjazz.com exists, because you can't change the format on a platform called smoothjazz.com. You're not going to tune in tomorrow and hear another kind of music. You know what you're going to get. It's always going to be here. Yeah,
but the point is to make a runway that we could control. We could keep that road open, and no one could toll that road for us. And that's what we did, because we saw how that was going to continue to happen. If a radio station didn't exist in a market, maybe the festival didn't exist. Maybe the artists that were in that market had nowhere to promote. We saw that one owner from out of town could come in and buy stations, and now the regulations are even looser. So we saw the closing of that road. We opened a new road. The smoothjazz.com is a road for artists, it's a road for events, and it's a road for listeners. So they can all connect directly to each other. No middlemen needed. No one needs to tell you how to shape your song. Just bring it and learn how to be respectful and work it. To the audience, to the promoter, you'll create a symbiotic relationship that can feed a career.
And we'll continue to discuss these themes and many more. We've done 12 episodes this summer of the Stream Girls. This is our first season. This is the season finale. We'll be back, take a little break here and do our own leveling up on our end, on our technology over here, and come back with some more things to say. We're going to have some special guests coming up for season 2 of the Stream Girls. It has been a wonderful experience for both of us to be able to share our industry with you, to be able to reach out in a way that we couldn't normally do this, one call at a time. So thank you so much for checking us out and for listening. And remember, on the other side of this, on season 2, you're not going to be one of those people you're going to be one of the people that know, in the theme song. If you know, you're going to be one of those people. You're going to get out of your own way. And we're proud of you for that.
Yeah, and we really appreciate the comments and the encouragement and the connection, because we're out here being vulnerable too. And just know that we've been through the ringer on our end, and we're hoping that what we've been through will save you from having to go through the ringer.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
We'll see you in season 2. I'm Sandy Shore. It's been a real pleasure.
I'm Donna K. Phillips. Go get yourself a beer. Have a nice night.
Check the street.